You have an amazing brain. It is capable of learning and managing all kinds of things. But what happens when your brain has learned something that isn't true, or it's relying on a management system that you learned in high school to survive back then? It worked then, but it doesn't work now. Science tells us we can rewire our brain. Our brains are always learning. They are extremely efficient. But the problem with being efficient is when you try to relearn something that's already been learned, it takes effort, it takes decision, and it takes practice. And our brains, when they've set a course, they like to go down that course over and over again. Carving out new pathways takes so much energy and effort. Today, I want to talk with you about a way to do that. I'm not handing out miracles here. I'm just giving you a way to make small shifts, because it's in making those small shifts that we are able to change the big picture that's going on in our lives. I'm talking about affirmations. I'm talking about what works and what doesn't work. I'm going to give you 10 of them that I've drawn from some ancient manuscripts. Psalms 23. It's one of the most familiar and common psalms, and I hope today you get to see it in a different way. Join me and let's rewire that brain for something different. Set aside some time, grab a pen and a journal, join me. Psalms 23 is one of our most familiar psalms. People have heard it related to funerals a lot of times, but this psalm has so much more to say to the living than it does to those who have already passed on. It is brimming with positive affirmations that have the potential to heal your wounded heart, encourage your weary soul, and rewire an anxious or overworking brain. I'm hoping today you can see this psalm in a different way, because we're going to talk about affirmations. Affirmations are a practice that's been tossed around for decades. They are positive statements that can help you overcome self-sabotaging thoughts and those negative statements that get stuck in your head. The premise is that if you repeat them often enough and then start to believe in them, that you will then think different and your thoughts will be more positive. On one hand, it sounds like a really great idea. It's like taking the inner Cruella de Vil that's just ranting and raving and angry and mad at puppies and replacing it with a gentle, soft Betty White. Who doesn't need that kind of upgrade? Quite often we refer to that part as an inner critic, and plenty of you have a really active inner critic that's really in your face about just about everything that you do. Wouldn't it be great to find a way to turn off that stream of thought and replace it with some gentle, kind, nurturing words? Affirmations also come with a problem. If you simply just grab a statement and start repeating it to yourself, if you haven't done the work that you believe that statement, you will end up causing what's called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you have two conflicting thoughts at the same time. It actually causes angst in your system. It is exhausting to live in that space. Most of our brains are not so easily fooled by just throwing a positive statement out there and expecting that things are going to change because of it. Just saying some words that you wish were true and hope that some magic happens, it's actually a wasted practice. Our affirmations need to be drawn from things that we already believe. In reading through Psalms 23, I found 10 affirmations that they are anchored in things that were written thousands of years ago. So they've stood the test of time. And if you happen to believe what's written in this psalm, these are things that you can use to help rewire your brain. I'll talk more about that later. For now, let's get into what the affirmations are. So let's start at the beginning of Psalms 23. Feel free to go through and read that yourself. Read it a couple times, press pause, and come back and then walk through this with me. The Lord is my shepherd. What does that mean? It means relax. You're in the right place at the right time. Someone else is in charge. It's not all up to you. You have a guide through this crazy wilderness. You're not alone, and He has you right where you are supposed to be. What would it be like to believe that today? You are right where you're supposed to be at the right time. I have all that I need. You are fed, dressed, warm. You really don't need anything else today. The world of marketing bombards you all day long with all the things that are supposed to make your life better. Let that rest for today. You have everything you need. Close the Amazon tab. Just today. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. I don't have to hustle 24/7. There is space to refresh myself. You can and should take a day off. Your body needs it. If you're sick or injured, unable to work, instead of working yourself into a frenzy or busy amusing or entertaining yourself, what if you paused and saw it as a time for soul restoration? A time of resting by quiet waters, a time to renew your soul. This is the moment when you don't have to hustle for anyone or anything. Every little thing can wait for a minute. The world will not fall apart if you rest. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. If I'm willing to follow, he will direct me on the right paths. Trying to make a decision today? He's on the path ahead of you, knowing where you should go. Calmly take the next step that you know to take. You are a cared-for sheep, not a feral squirrel scattered and panicky to store enough away so you can survive. What if you only focused on the next right thing? Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I have nothing to fear, for you are with me. I will not focus on fear and all the things that I could be afraid of. Instead, I'm going to focus on soothing and comforting my soul. The news, the media, the world will marinate your mind in fear and negativity. I don't think our nervous systems were designed to handle all that bad news from all over the world. Turn it down. Shut it off. Tell yourself you don't have to be afraid. You are not alone in this. One of the things I know that makes an event traumatic is when you have to go through it alone. Being alone makes things so much worse. The studies show it. I want you to know you are not alone, ever. Your rod and your staff comfort me. My guide has the tools needed for this space and this time. I don't have to know everything or do everything. I don't have to have it all in control. He's got this. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Now look how I translated this one. My well-being is not dictated by my haters. Even when someone is against me, I can still eat in peace. Their anger, their contempt, their hatred doesn't have to touch me. Surrounded by an invisible shield, I can see it, but it doesn't have to come near me and destroy my heart. I can see it and still continue to take in nourishment for my soul. I can have boundaries. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. What a way to go through your day. I am anointed and filled to overflowing. What if you took that in through your day? What are you anointed for today? What are you supposed to be up to today? What are you so full of that thing just can't help but spill out? Is it love? Is it peace? Is it joy? What do you need to fill yourself so full of that you overflow into the lives of others? How would your day be different today if you went through it knowing you are anointed and filled to overflowing? Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. I'm leaving behind a trail of blessings and good things for those that come behind. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I have a place. I have a home where I belong. So many people feel like they just don't belong anywhere. You do. Maybe your home is in turmoil and it doesn't feel peaceful and safe. No, you're part of something greater. You're a child of God in a house where you're loved and cherished and looked after forever. No one's kicking you out at a certain age. You'll never be too old to have value in this house. So now this is how you use it to rewire your brain little by little. When you find yourself aware of that negative thought or that situation or that thing that you tell yourself over and over again, grab one of these affirmations, whichever ones jump out to you, whichever one makes sense to you, and I want you to do something with it. I want you to put it on your phone. I want you to use it as wallpaper. I want you to put it in an email and send it to yourself for later in the day. Maybe I want you to write it on your hand. I hate things written on my hand, but they're always there to remind you when you get in that space where something that you know you shouldn't be just mulling on keeps coming up, you have it at hand to then replace it with something else. You can do this once a day. You can do this a couple times a day. If you really want to wire your brain, start noticing how often that other thing comes up. And every time, make the shift. No, I actually believe this. Because whatever you believe, your brain will look for proof for it. If you believe you are an awful person, your brain will find that proof. If you believe you are amazing, your brain will find proof of that too. For example, if you constantly tell yourself you're overwhelmed and you'll never get it all done, your brain will have a whole stockpile of things that it needs to tell you about all those other times when you didn't finish, when you were late, when you forgot. If you can tell yourself, though, that I can do the next right thing, that's something you can focus on. I just need to do the next right thing. There's no overwhelm in that. Try catching yourself in the moment or in a series of moments and give your brain something else to ponder on. Like a puppy on a leash, our brain will constantly take off and head off where we don't want it to. Pulling it back in, giving it something to focus on so that it can sit and be a good boy. The key to this is doing it over and over, making it a conscious choice that when you find yourself where you don't want to be, that you turn it around and put yourself in something that's believable where you want to be. I hope you found that helpful today. And now, go take on your day.